Good morning, y'all. I'm enjoying a nice peanut butter and jelly sandwich with a cup of coffee. This is my breakfast. Y'all, there is nothing like a good old fashioned peanut butter, crunchy peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Love it, love it, love it. I told you, y'all, this is going to be the summer of good watermelon. My Field and Family magazine came today, and look what's on the cover. Watermelon, watermelon. Oh, I mean, I could really, truly just survive off this. So good, y'all. So good. I am in for the weekend. My body is tired. My brain is really tired from learning so much. And it's an inside day. It's beautiful outside, but y'all, summertime is here. I know it ain't the 20th of June, but it's here, honey, because it's in the 90s. But I'm going to chill and watch some TV. I think I'm going to watch that movie Stay on Netflix. That's a new movie with Taraji P. Henson in it. And I think Sherry Shepherd's in it too. But yeah, my brain needs a reset and a default or whatever. And I'm going to be eating watermelon all weekend long.
What am I teaching you?
Oh, great question.
You're teaching me how to talk about the future, and in doing that, I kind of caught feelings. Yeah.
Okay.
You're teaching me a lot. What am I teaching you in our relationship?
I don't think I was not good at this before, but I think you're helping me expand on just what it actually looks like to give grace in action and to be really patient. Not that you've tested my patience so much, but I think you were just a very patient and kind and gentle with me, and because I haven't had that so much,
I love that question.
Be more of that.
Have you ever asked someone, what am I teaching you? Oh, that's such a great question.
That too. I haven't been able to.
Y'all, I'm watching this movie called Straw with Taraji P. Henson. Baby, Tyler Perry, baby, you taking over, ain't you? Is Tyler Perry not taking over Netflix? My God, y'all. Oh my goodness, y'all. It's one of those nights, or should I say morning, where I'm tossing and turning. My sleep pattern is way off. And it's hard to sleep. Hot flashes. But anyway, since I can't sleep, I either pray, meditate, or maybe get up and piddle. But I was over there on the Book of Faces, or Facebook, and I watched maybe an hour or so of a bunch of reels, Reels, of Dan Rather. Do we love Dan Rather? Oh, I mean, I've just always liked Dan Rather. He's just top notch, in news and interviewing. Anyway, he's done a bunch of interviews where he's interviewing different celebrities, mostly musicians in this particular
I guess, you know, when news anchors, popular news anchors, they've anchored the news for so many years. When they retire from that everyday news beat, they do special kind of interest type things. So I guess he was doing a bunch of different um, interviews with celebrities, and anyway, I watched a few, like with he did one with Cher's husband, a husband that Cher, the singer Cher, was married to. Anyway, I can't even think of his name. And then he did an interview with what's her name, Carly. She's a singer. Had a wide mouth. Anyway, he interviewed her, and he interviewed Huey Lewis, the singer Huey Lewis. And I love listening to those type interviews because you never know what you can learn from just people in general, whether they're young or old. You never know what you'll learn from them. Anyway, Huey Lewis was talking about how he had lost his hearing. And, as a musician, that's your livelihood. As a musician, you have to be able to hear sound and chords and, all of these things. And so, with my limited knowledge, if you will, but, as a singer myself, if you want to call me a singer, I sang on a praise and worship team at my church for for 20 plus years. I've been on the praise and worship team at my church. And, but anyway, up until when COVID hit, my whole life has changed. But anyway, up until then, I was very, very deep and involved in singing and being at church 3 and 4 times a week, But again, he was talking about how he had lost his hearing in his left ear, and I can't remember which one came first. But anyway, he was just talking about how he lost hearing in one ear, and then later on, he began to lose hearing in his other ear, and so he went to the doctor and did all these things, and the doctor diagnosed him with something. And so Dan Rather, great, just, of course, he's just top notch, Dan Rather, just great questions, So he asked him, he said, hey, on a serious note, here it is, you've already got limited to no hearing in one ear, and now you behold are dealing with another hearing loss issue. And, Dan asked him, he said, so, as a musician, what were you thinking? How did you deal with that? And so, of course, he said, when you're going through something like that, and again, we're talking about the senses, but he said something so interesting. He said, when stuff like that happens to you, he said, I began to really plan out my own demise. I mean, he said, I had some suicidal thoughts. And he said that he really, really began to think about, okay, how do I exit stage left? How do I end everything? He said, but then over time, he said, you know what? I recognize you can get used to anything. And something about that statement, I thought, oh my God, that is so forever true. I think when we are in something and we're going through something, because it's something new, if you will, whether it's a positive or a negative. And you got to find a way to process that thing. And because you don't see yourself past the process while you're going through it, you will begin to think of things. Okay, and what made me think about this was whenever I was going through not being able to see in my left eye. And, when I detached my retina, and I thought about what he said, and I just kept thinking, oh my God, that is so forever true. You can get used to anything. And I always say it, no matter or whatever that is, you really can. You can get used to anything. And I just began to praise and thank God as a reminder that no matter what we're going through, you have to truly trust God and know that this too shall pass. And it doesn't matter how awful the circumstances are, you can get used to anything and it will get better. And so what I mean by that is, as bad as it was and devastating to me to know, Tanya, yeah, you can't see out of that left eye, but you can see out of your right eye. Yeah, you have vision problems anyway, and your right eye is not as clear, but you can still use it. So I got used to not being able to see out of my left eye for over almost a year. Well, really a little over a year. And before I had vision loss where I couldn't see, I couldn't imagine being able to not have sight in one eye. But it was something that I went through and I experienced. And guess what? I got used to it. Not saying that I get used to it to the point to where I had to stay there, because thank God for his miraculous healing power and putting the doctor to be able to go in there and do surgery on my eyes 3 times to correct the problem. 3 eye surgeries is what, and here's what's so awesome, y'all. My retina specialist, when he finished, soon after he did my surgery, he actually retired because he was taking care of his parents, and his parents had started getting a little bit more sick, needing more of his attention. And so he decided that I was his last major surgery. And that's something, and I didn't even know that, because no sooner than he did all the corrective stuff to my eye and all that good stuff. So even in the timing of what I did to, when I jammed my thumb in my eye and detached my retina, and then they discovered some other stuff, I said, God, I thank you. So again, in that, now, I'm not saying that there's not other retina specialists out there that could have done the same thing, but I look back at timing of things. And like I said, it just reminded me when I was listening to that interview, and he just said it so just answering Dan Rather's question. But when he said that, it was like a pause, a Selah, like Selah. And when he said that, when Huey Lewis said, we don't recognize, but people, we can get used to anything. Again, positive or negative. So just remember that, because that blessed me when he said it. It's like those are some of the things we may know, but to hear it, faith come by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. So the word is God. Follow what I'm saying? God created everything, and he created what? He created words. So the words that came out of Huey Lewis's mouth about people can get used to anything. And like I said, I'm paraphrasing, but that's the gist of what he was saying. And I said, oh my God. And that's really the truth. So again, be encouraged no matter what you're going through. It's for a season. And so some things in life, just like as I age, as we get older, as we get mature, you're entering into a season. Whatever that season is, it's for a season. It's going to pass. Even if you have to get used to whatever your new normal is, that is what you will have to deal with until it's time for you to come out of that season. And just like Huey said, he said, I still don't have hearing in my ear, and I've been diagnosed with this, degenerative disease as it pertains to hearing. He said, but, it's gotten better. In other words, while you're in it, you find things to cope with whatever loss and other things. Again, where you are weak at certain things, your body, whatever, something else, your other senses are going to be stronger. Oh my God, I thank you. So that's why, even young people, and I had to repent because I can remember when I was younger how I used to think. But of course, life and experience will teach you some things. So, even with me being on social media, people, when they leave comments or they're talking and they're saying things, and it's like, do you realize, just keep living. Life is going to be what life is going to be. My skin is not going to always look like it is when I was an infant child. My skin is not going to look like an infant skin when I'm 12 or 20. As we progress in life, things are going to change. And I think we do ourselves a disservice thinking that you're going to look the same way the rest of your life. God didn't even create time to be that way. But sometimes when we speak to one another, know where you are. Know where you are. Because society will put such pressures on us that we got to remain looking a certain way until the Lord calls us home and we are glorified. That's just not reality. But anyway, I just wanted to share that. And plus two, I can't sleep. Oh my gosh, y'all. But anyway, like this season I'm going through, these hot flashes, I know I talk about all the time. Y'all, it is, oh my God, it is something else. I'm cutting my fan on now. I need it on. I keep my fan, my little handheld fan, so it can blow right in my face. Oh God. Anyway, y'all, love you. God bless. May the peace of the Lord be with you.